Do you want me to wait 5 minutes to see if anybody else comes, or is everybody happy for me to just wait a few minutes? I'm happy to wait a few minutes, yeah. We're live streaming.
Yeah, it's fine.
Is it still noon here?
I haven't seen it yet. What you done? That you're looking so cross?
No, I'm looking, searching. That's
Oh, I see. I looked at that face and I said, that's just someone who's looking cross.
Oh, no. She came to me yesterday and she said, I believe you have a pattern for the trauma tents. I said, yes, I do. She said, can I have it to give to Nancy, whom I think is Nancy Mason? And I said, well, I don't have it with me, but I have run some off. Photocopy. So I could give her one.
You were trying to be helpful.
I was, yes, that was my helpful.
I confused the look, did I?
You did indeed.
Oh, gosh.
I'm constantly misunderstood. Constantly.
Are we happy to go? Happy to go? Okay, so welcome everybody to our meeting. For those of you that maybe haven't been to a meeting before, I do get a bit of feedback that I haven't probably been introducing myself well. So my name is Leah Winterbank and I'm the Acting Senior Sergeant up at Mallacoota Police Station, and for the time being I'm the Forward Commander at Mallacoota in relation to this response to the bushfire crisis. We're trying to get there, speaking slowly. If I speak fast again, I apologise, and we will try to remember to read the questions. We've had a lot of new teams come in again today, so you're going to see a lot more new faces again today, but we're making our introductions, and it seems to be working in that the team rotations, the agency rotations for their members seems to be happening at a different time. So, for example, we had a new health team come in yesterday, but we're still here. We've got some rotations within CFA and MFB coming up, but I'm still going to be here. So you'll get to know Warwick. I think Warwick's already been here from Health Command. So hopefully we're staggering it enough that there's at least some continuity for you guys to have a bit of a familiar face up here and then get to know the new people that are coming in. So I have some good news, which is I'm going to open up with, we've had a press release come down from the State Control Centre, and I'm going to read it word for word because it was in relation to the Minister's visit yesterday. And excuse me while I'm trying to read off a laptop. So if any of you weren't here at the meeting yesterday, the Minister for Police and Emergency Services, Lisa Neville, came and she spoke. And also present here was my Chief Commissioner of Police, Graham Ashton, and the CFA Chief, Steve Warrington. The Minister spoke to some of the community here and she wanted information and feedback from them about what they wanted to happen in here, and I believe that there were several questions that were asked of her. Nobody asked her a question when she spoke, but certainly there were questions asked when she stayed back. So we've had a direct response to some of the questions, and I'm going to read it verbatim so that I don't get it wrong. Question 1 was asbestos. People need to understand risk, is there any, with the houses burnt. They need to understand how asbestos will be managed in the short term, i.e. are properties closed off where asbestos and some system to keep the material wet so dust does not blow. This is major concern, and we need proper info on this at the community meeting today. My answer, or not my answer, their answer. This is, a council environmental health officer and building surveyor are en route today to Mallacoota to undertake risk assessment of destroyed and damaged properties. They will provide advice as to the management requirements pending the outcome of their assessment. There is an EPA fact sheet called After a Fire, Asbestos Hazards, which includes detailed information regarding the risk and safety precautions around asbestos. Asbestos only poses a risk to health when asbestos fibres are inhaled as dust. The community is advised not to inspect burnt building rubble. If it is decided to inspect building rubble, you should wet it down to prevent dust. You should also wear personal protective equipment called PPE. It typically consists of a dust mask, gloves and coveralls. By minimising your exposure to bushfire rubble that may contain asbestos, you minimise inhalation of asbestos fibres. An EPA member is also scheduled en route to Mallacoota. I just want to check something. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Question 2. Those community members determined to go to their properties to look around where they can get access to the proper gear, they rightly being encouraged not to go. Sorry, I'm going to start that again because those community members determined to go to their properties to look around where they can get access to the proper gear. They're rightly being encouraged not to go, but where they are determined, they need to know where to get the gear so people don't take a risk. Community meeting 2. The answer, DHHS are providing P2 masks, and just touch on that we had a shipment come in and there are 2 pallets sitting outside the doors here today, and I've seen them as I walked in. So DHS are providing P2 masks and personal protective equipment in Mallacoota. 10,000 P2 masks are available on site at Mallacoota. 12,000 personal protection equipment kits are available on site in Mallacoota. In addition, there are sufficient quantities of fact sheets after the fire and health smoke information for residents. Question 3. Lots of questions about what will be done to manage and limit development of invasive pests and weeds. Think there is a package around this, but no one at community meeting knew yesterday. The answer. Agricultural Victoria has advised that farmers receiving hay should confine the feeding of their cattle to a single paddock, if possible, to safeguard against the spread of invasive pests and weeds. For more information, please visit the Agriculture Victoria website regarding recovery for farmers returning to bushfire affected areas. Question 4. They have not had a post delivery for 3 weeks. Surely there is a way with Australia Post to get post in. This is urgent. So an Australia Post vehicle was en route to Mallacoota last night. However, the vehicle broke down in Can River. Really?
It has arrived. It's arrived today.
And I haven't read this before. I'm reading it now. So, yeah, I'll go pick it up myself. So a new Australia Post transport has left Can River today and will be delivering mail delayed yesterday and today's mail. And just then, we've been told this has happened. Yay! Okay. Question 5. For the follow-up in the week, community members need access to fencing equipment, farmers, so they can do some work on their fencing. We need to get the local teams to work out what is needed so some can get sent in. Two-part answer. The Victorian Government is working to make additional assistance available to farmers, such as recovery concessional loans and grants. Once available, this assistance can be used towards the cost of fence restoration. Two, Blaze Aid provide assistance with re-establishing fences for all types of livestock. Farmers can register, and has anybody got a pen and wants to write it down? Otherwise, as per what we've been doing, we'll get the information and it can be shipped out straight away after the meeting and made available to everybody. So farmers can register at blazeaid.com.au or www.facebook.com/blazeaid. No phone number. But I imagine on the website there might be a phone number. Question 6. Sewerage, is that recommended? What are we doing with those people who have tanks or septic? Both the water supply and the sewage services are back to business as usual for the township of Mallacoota. Any residents who depend on tank water for drinking purposes are eligible under the Emergency Relief Tank Flushing and Filling Program, coordinated by South East Water. Local governments will investigate the status of septic tanks through environmental health officer inspections, and DELP will assist in refurbishment and repair of septic tanks if required. Additional request on mental health and wellbeing. 2 by mental health clinicians and 5 by Victorian Council of Churches support staff complaining to Mallacoota this morning. So that's what I have in response to any questions that you had from yesterday. So are there any questions in response to the questions from the questions from yesterday? No questions? That's not mine. So then I think I'll follow our usual procedure, but David's currently taking a message or a call, so I'm going to throw over to Mark O'Connor from MFB, and he will give you an update on the fire activity and from an ops response perspective.
Afternoon all, thank you again. So it's been a fairly quiet day today for us, so the strike teams have been busy today. Following some additional requests from private landholders about dangerous trees, I've been out checking those at rears of properties and side of properties, so there's been good results from the feedback I've got so far. We had a plane fly over yesterday identifying any, even just very small hotspots throughout the whole area, so they're out extinguishing those today. One of the things we've been doing with our crews is making sure they do the health monitoring, same as you guys have been doing, so checking their blood pressure, and so that's been working really well. We've been providing escorts, so there's been a wealth of resources coming into town from fuel and gas, SPOsnet, so because the roads are closed to public, it's under escort from emergency service vehicles. So between police, fire and SES, they've been providing that service. I can tell you in the fire front, so I'll throw to Ross in a moment to give you the bigger picture, but all our warnings now have been downgraded to advice, so there's no more watch and acts in this area, so that's a good thing for your community. But just on a personal note, I transition out of here tomorrow, so I just wanted to thank everyone for their friendship and hospitality. It's been fantastic under the circumstances we've come here to spend time with you. So thank you very much. I think you're a great bunch, very resilient, and I just wish you all luck in the future. So thank you. Ross come up to give you an update on the other fires.
Yes, good afternoon all. My name is Ross Cutley. I work with Forest Fire Management Victoria. I I'll just give you a bit of an update on, I guess, the weather and the fire activity over the last couple of days. So basically with the weather, there's a deepening trough that will turn into a sort of more of a broader low pressure system that's expected to move through tomorrow. So potentially with storms, there is predicted rain of sort of 5 to 10 mils. That could be obviously heavier with storm activity, leading to flash flooding, convective outflows if they happen to develop over this part of the world. Come Monday, that low pressure system will move further out to sea, and again they're expecting some rainfall with that. Models are saying 10 up to 30 mil, but the confidence is varied depending on where that sort of low pressure system forms and how it develops. And then going forward Tuesday, southwesterly airflow as that low pressure system sort of moves further out off the coast. With Wednesday looking at the next sort of, I guess, fire weather day where we return to northerly winds with a gusty southwesterly change in the afternoon. So I guess for the next couple of days in that easterly airflow, high humidities, moisture in the air, quiet in terms of fire behaviour, which is a good thing. And with the low pressure system potentially, as we know, it could deliver some useful rainfall totals, we hope. I guess in terms of the fire line work that we're currently doing, so we're down to just local crews at the moment. We have also the CFA in town. As Mark said, we had an AIG run, which is an aerial intelligence gathering run, done with FLIR cameras. It picks up heat and identifies hotspots. So we were lucky enough to get one done around the town of Mallacoota yesterday. We have requested one also today to cover the area of Gypsy Point, and also sort of over towards the Buckland Road area north of Marshmead, where there is some activity in that area. So that'll help crews, I guess, pinpoint potential hotspots to deal with. Obviously, if they're a long way in off the forest edge, we'll be reluctant to send in crews due to the hazards of tree and the like, but they'll be well in the black, but hopefully they can target some of those specific areas that are either close to unburned country to stop reignition, or in the town itself along roads and that type of thing. So hopefully we get some further intelligence today, and again line scans are predicted for this afternoon, which will give us an overall understanding of where the fire activity is around more the perimeter. Work's been progressing again. I keep mentioning around Orbost, but that's a considerable line that they're trying to help hold east of the Cabbage Tree Conrad Road. So yesterday obviously conditions weren't appropriate for burning, but I believe they were looking at potentially starting that again today. Locally more so we've got crews still working up the Wongabel Road, again heading towards Nunningatta with skidders and harvesters, and that's to basically get roads open to emergency management vehicles, and also to provide sort of, I guess, access into remote private communities. We also have crews that are currently started work on the Fairhaven Road in the Wallagra area, again accessing private property in that vicinity. And we have crews up on the Buckland Road today, so they were looking at options to, I guess, tie in some of the stuff in Victoria into some gully systems with some mineral earth lines, just to stop the spread of fire, which is benign, progressing further south in that particular area. We're also keen to obviously get some intelligence from New South Wales in that Nadji area, to help us sort of, I guess, give us an understanding of what the fire activity is there, because as we know it's only an imaginary line, and there is still obviously activity in New South Wales, which has the potential to impact on that Howe Range area. So we're certainly mindful of that. We're restricted in terms of access into that country, as you would know, but we also are aware of the high values of obviously bristlebirds and other ecosystems that are acknowledged that exist in that area. So there is strategies hopefully in place that they can try and work through should fire start moving into that part of the country. I guess the other package of works that we'll look at developing is just trying to open up the network, I guess around Mallacoota. Again, just trying to work on hazard tree reduction, getting some of the trails open. They won't necessarily be open to the public as yet. As you can understand, there's considerable work to do with the hazard tree component, and that's the most critical bit of work that we do to make it obviously safe for our community, but also safe for our firefighters. So So that's, I guess, it in a nutshell as to what we're doing. We have requested additional resources in terms of hand fallers and that type of thing. We find them really valuable in terms of the tree work they can do, especially around town and in the forest environment. So we're hoping they'll be filled. But at the moment, we've basically got the local crews and the plant that we've had for the last few days. So a bit like Mark, I head out tomorrow myself as well. I'm a little bit closer to town than Mark. I'm from Orbost, so this is my second deployment down here. So I really enjoyed working with the community down here, and I have a good, I guess, understanding or have a good relationship with the local crews. I've worked with them for a number of years. So Dash is back in as of tomorrow, so I'm sure you know Dash, and he's been through it from the start. So he'll obviously pick up where I leave off, but I hope I have the opportunity to come back and continue to work in this space. As I say, I'm only down the road, so with a bit of luck I'll see you in a couple of weeks' time. But thank you again for your patience, for your understanding, and I hope things continue to improve as we go forward. I'm sure they will, and with a bit of luck we get some moisture over the next couple of days. So thanks very much for your time. Sorry, quick to disappear. I have got the map here again, as you can see. I haven't quite got it up on the wall yet, but I'm happy to bring it out. And if there's any specific questions around any of the fire activity, happy to talk you through some of that information. But is there any questions at the moment? Yep.
Look, just as I was riding down in between the two entrances to the commercial road, there was smoking stuff. Do we worry about that? Should we report it, or should we ignore it?
Yeah, look, I can. Sorry. So hotspot, I guess you call it, identified some smoke around the commercial road sort of area in town. So
Smoking stuff.
Smoking stump, yeah, sure. So look, that's hopefully this sort of, I guess, intelligence that this IIG will pick up. So that gives us the ability to actually target some of these specific hotspots, and I appreciate, it won't pick up everything. This machine can actually, it picks up even hot rocks and that sort of thing that aren't an issue, but those sort of areas it will pick up, depending on I guess, the distance from the line that it might be flying. But I appreciate there is a lot of those calls that come in through big fire as well to the community, which is understandable, and in town the CFA would respond. But I guess to answer your question, should you be worried? If it's certainly next to any unburnt country, then it's a priority that we need to target, because that is of concern. Hopefully most of these smouldering stumps or hotspots, as we call them, are within the black, which I think you mentioned might be the case with this one. So yeah, in terms of reignition, it's highly unlikely, but really, I guess we want to concentrate and we want to deal with these hotspots, and that's why we have the CFA. But anything that's next to unburnt country, that's where we really need to be focusing. But as a matter of course, as we move through the landscape, hopefully over time, these particular hotspots that you see will become less and less, and that means that we're doing our job as well. Yeah. Any other questions?
It's not burning now, but there's a damaged tree attached to Point Rail at our place. The front got the yellow paint. That's where our green business in the middle of that. It's not burning now. We've watched it 2 or 3 days after the 31st, but there's some danger of it falling. I think it's burning in 3 spots for 2 or 3 days.
Yep.
Hopefully someone's got that down.
Yeah, is it on private property?
No, that was
It's in the forest, is it?
not
Yeah. So I guess the question was about hazardous trees that potentially could fall. That's certainly a priority of ours, especially in the forest environment, which is where we work, and those sort of forested countries or bits of land within Mallacoota. So when we had our team of hand fallers in, that was some of the work that they were basically focusing on. So the idea is to have crews go through. They're trained to assess and mark hazardous trees, which they feel have the potential that if they're impacted by fire, that could fall. So any trees like that, if we can find out their locations, they haven't obviously got every tree, but that's certainly work that will continue to happen. In some cases it may need a machine, but we do have, not at the moment, but hopefully we have more crews coming in that have specialist skills with chainsaws, advanced haulers, that can target some of those trees. If they're on private property, it's probably something we need to work through in terms of how we deal with some of those trees, and I guess long term who is responsible for those. So we acknowledge that there is a threat, and coming from an agency that I guess has hazard trees is our number one priority in terms of crew safety. So we're aware of the issues. But yeah, if you can provide that information back to operations, then yeah, we can look at it on a case by case basis.
I think the hazard here is what's all onto the road.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah, and certainly, as you'd be aware, we've had crews working up and down the Genoa Mallacoota Road for some time, and that's the sort of work that they've hopefully been identifying those trees and dealing with. Yeah.
My question's on a similar theme. I know you're checking the trees for fire damage and the possibility of falling, but if we get heavy rain, are you able to assess the trees at the same time as you're doing the other? Because that might make them fall.
Sure, and the question was around, I guess, the impacts of heavy rain, potential impact on trees that certainly are capable of coming down after heavy rain, especially after they're fire affected, and we see that time and time again. We have a fire event, and then we get massive storms and heavy rainfall, and it produces a whole set of different problems, everything from water quality to landslides, to track access, to hazardous trees. So I guess part of the assessment when crews initially look at fire affected trees is also whether there's any upheaval in the root system and that sort of thing. So some trees may not be necessarily affected in the crown or in the trunk as like, but if they're able to identify potentially weak structures or root systems to a lesser degree, then they can deal with those trees. But you're right, if we do get heavy rain, it'll change the focus, and it'll present a whole set of new challenges for us. Yep. Well, thanks again for your time, and hopefully we'll see you again before too long. Thanks.
So, of course, like with everything, we had a bit of a structure and it's just changed. So I'm just going to do a little bit of a wrap-up about what's going on in the Big Pole space at the minute. So we're getting a rotation too. I have my ORU crew that has been here with me since Tuesday are actually flying out tomorrow, and we're getting 12 members. So we're getting an additional 2 police members to start with to come into the town, and they are flying in tonight, pending weather, but I believe they're coming in tonight. And then they'll do a handover, and so you'll get a new crew of basically on the street police. What they've currently been doing, my understanding is that they're going to be working in the same shift pattern. So 12-hour shifts, we have a day shift running and a night shift running, and we are still manning TMPs up at the Princes Highway at Genoa Mallacoota Road. So that you're going to see some new faces, but hoping that with the day to brief to do a handover, that'll go quite smoothly, and it should be running in the same structure. But with another 2 members coming in, then I can maybe give the locals a little bit of a break, because they've been working really hard, and so that's good for me. So then my rotation was supposed to end on Monday, but I've gained another day so that I can do a formal handover with my replacement, who's going to be flying in on Monday, and then I'll fly out on Tuesday. So you'll meet John Hodder when he comes. I think he's been nominated as my replacement, and I believe that he is from Bairnsdale, so he will be a much more local person than I am. So I hope maybe some of you know him, I'm not sure, but that's the plan, and I'm pretty sure that's fairly firm at this stage. So we've been pushing the issue with the roads, and we've pushed that up, and we've pushed that up, and we've pushed that up, and we're not getting much back down at the minute. So again, I'm really sorry that I can't offer you any information on any times that they're looking to open the roads, other than there's plans being put into place. I know you've heard it all before. I know that's the same thing that I've been saying yesterday and the day before, and I just don't have anything more for you about the roads, other than there's crews going in, we're working really hard to get it open, and we're waiting for an answer basically. So I don't have anything for you on that.
The convoys continuing every second day?
Yep. So we made a decision that, the question was, are the convoys continuing every second day? Yes, and a convoy went out this morning, and obviously that's why our meetings got a lot less people in it. So the convoy will be heading back in now, and that will continue. So the next convoy is scheduled to happen on Monday, pending any plans that we see coming down with direction about this reunification process that hopefully will start soon. So we'll keep doing that until we hear something different, because I'm sure that as soon as we hear that there's a plan, then the convoys may have to be put off, and that's just, and I'm sorry, and there's nothing I can do about it, but getting people back is probably more of a priority at this stage. Any other questions? Yep. So the question was about computers crashing, coming up with an error message that says no DVI, no signal. I don't know. I'm not technical. I have no tech. I will I will absolutely get you an answer out as soon as I have an answer. I'll get it to you. But I know nothing about anything to do with technology.
So we'll check the service cut. We'll check the services.
So we'll check with the services and see if there's any.
Because a lot of people do banking or pay their bills.
Yep. Yep, so that was, people are doing obviously internet banking, paying their bills and trying to organise things over the internet, and as soon as I have an answer we'll check with them to find out what the issue is and if it's something that's going to be ongoing or rectified, but I'm not, tech's not mine. Any other questions in relation to anything that I've said today? Yep.
Question in relation to visitors, is there an option still to fly out? That's what was happening earlier on, people were flying out to sail on some of the flights and the changeovers. Is that still an option?
For visitors that are here. So the question was, is there any opportunity for visitors to fly out? But I might have a chat. I don't understand. I don't know the process. Was I here when that was happening?
Probably not. No.
So I don't know. So all I can do is I can go back to. I've still got Rod Finlay's number on speed dial. I'll give him a call and see if he can give me an answer, because I'm not aware of that process. I don't think that's happened since I've been here. So I'll come and speak to you after the meeting, and I'll get some details and try and get an answer for you straight away. Anything else from me at the moment? Yep.
Just in relation to the road openings and convoys, a lot of us have appointments and various commitments up the coast. It seems to make more sense to me, instead of convoys, one of the problems with appointments and things, the convoy time doesn't necessarily meet with the appointment time. You may then have to stay 2 nights or something up the coast because those times don't meet. In other places they've arranged a green card system which gives you authority to pass through the checkpoints.
So the question, I'll answer that straight away. So the question was around, we have commitments and appointments potentially up the coast. We're a resident at Mallacoota, and we're wondering why we can't be coming in through the checkpoints because there's another system in place. So that it directly relates to the status of the road at the time. So currently the restrictions on the road are at a B, which has a particular structure around it and how we can and can't let people in and out. So I would say that what you're talking about is when the road goes to a C, which is when residents can come in and out with permits. I don't want to get it wrong. So when the road gets open to a C, it's basically free movement for residents in and out of the community. That you will be given a sticker or a permit or some type of wristband, and then that way you can come and go. If you're a resident, you can come and go as you please. We're not at that stage yet. So if that's happening somewhere else, then clearly the roads are at a different level.
Why aren't we at that stage?
Why aren't we at that stage yet? Really good question. I don't know, because it's not my call. I can't do, that is well above me. So all I can do is...
We went up to Eden the other day, last Tuesday,
Yep.
for the convoy, and we came home after the convoy. We've also been at Mallacoota for friends with their farm.
So I think...
Those roads in New South Wales, right through Mallacoota, are in the best
New South Wales...
ever been.
Okay, the roads in New South Wales are better than they've ever been. New South Wales is not our jurisdiction in Victoria, and I have no control over what's going on in New South Wales. And I appreciate that everybody is frustrated and everybody is getting impatient and everybody is really, really... But I don't have an answer for you, and I don't want to give you an answer that's not correct. And you can shoot me as the messenger, but I don't have an answer for you, and I don't want to say I don't know, but... That's
Well, my experience over 2 days or so, roads are fine. There are no trees that need to be cleared, and they have been in the best shape ever.
Yep.
So why can't we be allowed to go in and out of town, up to Eden or over to Canberra, wherever we like?
Because...
There's absolutely no reason from here right up across the border why we can't go.
Because, again, that's not my call. It's an incident controller's call, and I don't... Yep, and I will certainly force that. I've been put... We as a collective group of agency heads have been forcing things up the chain, and we have to wait for direction. And what I'll do as soon as I leave this meeting tonight is I'll put an email up again through the IPOG into the Incident Control Centre, and I'll give it to the Incident Controller because ultimately it's his decision to make and not mine. Any other questions?
I love Hilda Bruce is type of the picture we were in the house roof. Oh, we feel like we are because we
So effectively we're all under house arrest. And
Is that not the first time?
But we are still alive. We didn't have any injuries or incidents. Of course.
Any other questions?
Hi guys, back again. One more day you have to withstand me and then I'll be back. Thank you for laughing. You guys weren't here yesterday. I'm Jess. I'm the community support coordinator for the next few days until Monday, and Sandra Tozer will be back if you come across her in the past. So just a little bit of an update from what I said yesterday. So we're talking about getting some psychological support in, and they came in today. So let me introduce to you Jackie and Elika over here. They'll be working from tomorrow, but from the day after, so from Monday, they'll be at MDHSS if anyone wants to contact them. We've also got a lot of other psychological support coming in on Monday as well. So there's lots of different varied people that you can have a chat to. So they'll also be hanging around after this meeting today, so you can have a chat with them then. If you know anyone that you think would benefit from some psychological support, you can put their name forward, or talk to them about your own feelings, get some ideas about self-care, things like that, because everyone's talking about self-care, but it's actually nice to get some specific examples of how you can look after yourself and that's relevant to you as an individual. So we've also got some other people coming through CFA through AV as well, who are really good with psychological first aid. And if you see them hanging around, like Kelly over here, yeah, and these two here, then they're lovely. I did accost them before, so and they didn't yell at me, so feel free to chat with them as well. In addition to this, we have health monitoring, so Life Aid up the back there. Hello. So they're normally out and about with the CFA doing health monitoring in remote areas when they're fighting fires. At the moment they're here for you guys. So if you want any health checks, like, so I think they do blood pressure, heart rate, dehydration, CO2, a few different things. You're going to be positioned up here at the back here. Yep, behind the curtain, bit of privacy. So they're going to be hanging around for an hour or so after this meeting, and probably tomorrow and Monday as well. Great. So in addition to this, if you are having any breathing difficulties or any other health issues, please feel free to use us, go to the GP or any of the other medical health services that are in town at the moment. Don't just sit on it thinking that we're busy with other things. We're here for you, so make sure you, keep us busy as well. Sorry, just making sure I don't miss anything. Gastro, again, I'm going to sprout on again about this because once one person gets it, it spreads like wildfire. So we do have confirmation that the hand sanitizers in. Yes, maybe, hopefully, yes. Which is great because now we can disperse them. We're not going to run out anymore. Please make sure you use them. We've set up a little station there on the chair as you walk in, so feel free to use it every time you kind of go to a building where you might be touching things, because we don't want that to affect anyone. Any symptoms like vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, anything like that, make sure you do contact your local health service just to get on top of it before it gets worse and get some good advice. Rubbish collection, I don't think I've ever been so excited to see a rubbish truck in my life. Hands up who was excited. Yay! So this will be happening every Saturday, so make sure you put your bins out on Friday night. We made sure to do that at the ambulance branch as well. So for any of you diabetics out there, the pharmacy has also informed us that they have some spare sugar readers, technical term for them. If yours is malfunctioning or broken, feel free to visit the pharmacy and you can get a replacement there. And we will be at the community barbecue tomorrow, so we're bringing out an ambulance so you can have a look through, and I'll be there as well. So you can ask us any questions or have a look through the ambulance or whatever you want tomorrow when we see you. Cool. Any questions?
Just a question about the waste collection.
Yes?
Was all going to landfill?
I don't know the answer to that.
Eva, sorry.
Sorry, Eva.
Sorry, Eva. I know you love
Thanks, Jenny. Really great. Was that Jenny? Really great question. And
what was the question?
Oh, sorry. The really great question was the rubbish that's now being picked up from up the coast. Is that? Oh, because I was speaking loudly. Sorry, Don. Is it just all of it going straight into landfill? And I'm going to have to get accurate information from the new contractors that we've got to let you know about that. So I'll get that information straight away and I'll get back to you. Sorry, I can't answer that. What's that? So you withheld your recycling just to make sure it's going to the right place. Okay, I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Thanks, Jenny.
Yep. Okay. I'll convey that. If you have more, do you have more to? Yep. So firstly, it was suggested that if you are putting somebody's name forward for some psychological assistance, make sure you go to talk to them first about it, so that they're comfortable with the process, so they're not feeling overwhelmed or accosted or something like that. Yeah. Did you have more of a? Was that the complete comment? Anything else? No? Good.
afternoon all. My name's David Chug. I'm the Divisional Commander for Mallacoota. And first of all, I'd just like to say thank you for everyone's great support and words of confidence in what we're doing up here. We've met many people in the street, and certainly I think it's been a real positive from everyone in the community, so thank you. As Lee was saying before, people time out, and I certainly, I've timed out tomorrow, if I can get out, but I might be going on a boat. But I've really enjoyed my time here, and I thank the community for accepting us into your great place, so thank you. I just want to say a few words on behalf of the Minister. The Minister and the State Control Centre just sent me a message about the plan going forward for having people that are able to come back into the community. So the key messages I'd just like to read directly. Over 850 people registered through the hotline. That was 131444. The prioritisation for to come back to the families is the residents returned. So that's the phase 1. Approximately 60 people will return via air on Monday. That all depends on air quality, smoke and everything else. And approximately 130 people by road on Monday. So that will be released very soon from the Minister and to the State Control Centre. So it's just a text message that just comes straight off this, so please be patient. There will be communication goes out. Once we've got that in writing, we'll ask Maria to get that throughout the community. So that's really good news that we're moving forward. We've got a plan to get people back in here, back to your loved ones, and that's what's on my text message at the moment. So I think that's a great achievement, and I certainly like to thank the team here when I do time out. The team's been amazing to work with, and I really appreciate your time and your effort. So I know it's very difficult, but thank you for your time as well. So I'll open to any questions or anything from that. Yes, sir.
My neighbour his wife is registered to come back by plane, and he said that they were told they were given 48 hours notice. Will that be enough time by Monday?
So the question is, the neighbour has registered, and the State Control Centre that they will liaise with each of those people to give them sufficient time to get their transport in. But again, I must stress that if it does get smoky again and they can't land, they are thinking of a contingency plan with the 130 on Monday by road. Okay, so they will do that. They will contact each individual person. No worries. Thank you. Any other questions?
So thank you. Are there any other questions from any of the agencies? Otherwise we'll do the usual process where we will be here for a little bit so we can field any questions that you may not want to answer. Now? Yep. Other than that, is there anything else tonight?
Probably not really, it's important at the moment. But when the power goes on, will they let us know so we can turn on our solar systems?
Yeah. So AusNet are part of the team. They may not be present at the meetings and stuff, but they're certainly part of the they're at the Incident Control Centre because of essential services. So as soon as that happens, I imagine that will go out into the community straight away. Oh, sorry. The question was about the power. Once the power is restored fully, will they let everybody know? And the answer is yes, we'll get it out there as soon as we get it.
And there's also one thing, I actually looked on I'm with Origin, and I actually looked on the website the other day, and we're actually being charged for the days, especially on the day of the fire and everything else, saying that we've been using power, which we weren't. And I have solar too.
We'll take the question.
So the question was that we're with Origin and we've had a check of our bills, and it looks to be that we're getting charged, and I would imagine that that's something that
This state with the Incident Control Centre will take up, so we'll put the question up to them to see what they're doing about that.
Incident Control Centre will put that up and we'll find out what's going on, whether they're going to be rectified.
Yep.
Sorry.
Jess is just going to mention one more thing.
Sorry.
No, go.
Just about the P2 masks. So we've got, I think it was 15,000 of bucket load. So it's recommended that you change your P2 mask every 4 to 6 hours, because after this it stops being effective. So don't just grab one or two, grab like a whole handful. We've got enough to go around for sure. We've got heaps. Okay, so don't feel like you're being selfish if you want to grab a few.
So just a last little word from John, which has been happening all week as well. So John's got something to say. Other than that, we're finished. So thank for the day. So thank you very much.
Hi there. Before I say what I'm going to say, the people here that talk to you don't make policy. They just tell you what they are told to tell you. So what I want to say is, don't forget tomorrow at 1 o'clock there's a Lions Club barbecue with sausages and stuff, and then we're having music until 4 o'clock.